Hello and welcome to this video. Here we are going to talk about 6 ways to be flattening your comic book art and to how to make color flats. So 6 different ways we're going to do that, and we're going to talk about these 6 processes in short. But before I do that, just want to remind everyone that this is advertisement for the 987 degrees centigrade comic book, which is the first book in season 1 of Unlimited Danger series. So this is coming up later on, and I will be showing an example of this comic book, a panel from it, when we're now talking about color flats. So let's talk about that first. We have the color flats, and I have a opened panel here from page 11, which I have colored. Let's put it like that. And when it's not colored, it looks like this. This is the black and white line art, and the problem now I'm having if I'm going to color it is, how am I going to apply the colors? How am I going to paint it, so to speak? And the process I'm using myself we'll talk about later on in the video, but the goal of this video is to show you that when we make some color flats, it will look like this. With any color you can imagine. So we're the color flats is the sort of first stage in the coloring process, where we have the areas of interest outlined, so to speak, and we are can reuse these layers later to add on the real colors. So if we just look at the flats without the line art on top, so we have the flats and we have the line art here. I'm putting it over and removing it here. So we have the X flats, but then what we do, of course, is that we make a copy of the X flats, and then we just exchange these false colors to something which is nicer, that actually resembles something that we want to show in the panel. And then of course we can add our line art back again, and we can put the frame on, and we can put the balloon on, and like that, and then we can put the effects on, and so we arrive at a nice looking panel like this. So okay, so now how can we produce these X flats? This is the exercise for today, and what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to talk about these 6 methods. Oh, whoops, I shouldn't take the whole Photoshop. I should just bring down the which one is it? It's probably this one. Okay, let's see if we can restore this one. there it is. Okay. Now, so I have 6, as you see here to the left, I have 6 layers here. I'm going to write something quickly here. And we're starting method number 6. Method number 6, let's see what we have. If my brush will work here, number 6, let's choose some 6. And this is the manual. Manual is a little too much. Okay, maybe we can... Manual way of doing it. And this is the first video I'm having in the description text below here. It's Color with Kurt is the channel name, and a flattening tutorial for Photoshop. And what Kurt is doing in that video is that he's showing the old-fashioned, I could perhaps say, method of selecting the line art with the lasso tool, or perhaps with the magic wand or something in Photoshop or equivalent program. And then when you have selected the whole area that you want to have in one particular color, then you just add the color in, and then you have the flat that area sort of covered. So that's the old manual way, and the process is I think extremely boring, and because I don't think that I don't see I don't see it as art or as a creative thing. I see it as a boring thing. So if I were to prepare flats with using a lasso tool myself, I would never have done it. I would have said, oh, this is too boring. I like drawing, but then I can't color it or something. I would have refused to do that process, because it's not only boring, but it's extremely time consuming also. And so both of these aspects make it like some kind of I don't know, prison, something necessary, but highly to be avoided. Anyway, so that's the reason, of course, why I put this at number 6 here, because it's not really very attractive process. So let's move on to number 5 then. What is happening in number 5 here? Number 5, we have a what would we call this? We can call this a plugin. Plug-in, and it's a Photoshop plugin. Oh, whoops, it's too quick here. Photoshop plugin, and the name of the YouTube video is Peltmade's Flatten Pro and MultiFill review and demo, and it's on the Learn to Color Comic Books channel. And you have the in the description you have the exact link and the name of it, so you can just use that. And that is, of course, a Photoshop plugin. And but one problem with that is that it costs 50 euros. And also, of course, you have to have Photoshop or some other program that will run that plugin. And another drawback is that it only works, as they say, with version 6 of Photoshop and later. But the problem is, what do they mean with version 6 of Photoshop? Do they mean the real version 6 of Photoshop, which refers to a pre-Creative Suits version of Photoshop released in September 2000? Or do they mean simply Photoshop CS6, Creative Suite 6 version? So I don't know that. And so if you have an older version of Photoshop before Creative Suite 6, then you may contact them and find that out for yourself. But that was just what I saw myself. So so that's not really, I think, I mean, it's not really a doable thing for me. I wouldn't pay $50 for a thing like that. Oh, more than if it was the only way to do it, then maybe, but there are other ways. But at least it's an option. So, oh yeah, so there are some videos where they exhibit Photoshop Creative Cloud Edition. So it works on the Creative Cloud Edition for sure. Exactly how good it is, I don't know. If it's very stable and like that, I don't know. But so, okay, so that's number 5, and now let's look at number 4, which is number 4, which is the online version, or the online method, because there is this person called Ayal Pinkus, who has a website called ayalpinkus.nl for Netherlands or Holland, and there is a utility called FlatOn. So this is a web-based tool which seems to be free, and that's good, of course. And but the problem is that you always has to be online. You always have to be online to do it. So I don't see any possibility of doing offline work if you're on the move somewhere or something like that. So that's a drawback which I wouldn't accept. And then of course there's another drawback, is that you don't have any guarantee that it's the same version of the program that is running that you did the last time. So last week you used it worked perfectly, but now it doesn't work exactly the same way, perhaps. I mean, it could be like that because it may be there's a new version uploaded or something that you behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So you don't have any version control, and it's not your program, right? So you can't control it like that. And then of course there's also the possibility that the whole site is no longer available someday. Perhaps the site is not available because the server is down, or perhaps because this person has stopped stopped supporting it, or I don't know, but it always feels to me, at least, that online solutions may be great for casual, if you're just doing flattening once in a lifetime or 5 times in a lifetime. But if you're doing a whole comic book with, as in my case, I'm having something like 600 panels, I have to be flattening 600 times, and these flats will have to be produced in the same way, so I get a predictable result. I mean, so I want to have control. I want that program, if there is such a one, I want that program to be on my computer. So but that's just my own preference, because I want that control. I want it to function exactly the same time the next time I'm using it, tomorrow, and the day after, and next week, and like that. So number 4 is okay, but online, so to speak. Then we have number 3. We have the ClipStudio Paint. Oh, ClipStudio. Whoops, this is too quick here. And this is Brian Scherer that is doing this video. I have the link to in the description. You can, number 3, yeah, number 3. So what is he saying? Well, it's then if you of course need to get ClipStudio Paint. This is the old Manga Studio program, and he in this video he describes a particular way you can color by sort of you move your pen around on your drawing, and then you can sort of you paint with the colors, and then the colors are sort of like a magnet. They sort of appear magically fitting in, so to speak. So it's an interesting process, but I'm not sure it's exactly what I would want, but it's definitely something better than number 4 and 5 and 6 that I've described above. And if it's not better, I think it may be quite quick. It's definitely quicker than number 6, at least. So you may have a look at that. But the problem, of course, with this one is that you need ClipStudio Paint if you don't already have it, and that is at least what is it now? It's something like $50 or 43 euros at this time. I checked just a few minutes ago, so it's 43 euros and or $50. But note when we're talking about price here, note that Brian Scherer in the video that you have the link to here, he seems to be running the EX version, which is not the simple version, but the more expensive version that costs $219 or 188 euros. So, and the thing is, I don't know if you need the EX version to do this work, because if you do, then of course that's a lot of money. For if flatting is all you want to do with it, so that's the problem there. So maybe the cheaper Pro version can do it. The $50 version, maybe it can do it, maybe not, I don't know. So you have to check that out for yourself. And as I said, the result from it seems a little unpredictable. It's not like you just flip a button and then you get all the colors and in the exact same place and the exact same area and like that. It's a more hands-on kind of approach. But maybe you like it, maybe you know, maybe you don't. But check it out if you're interested. So now we go to number 2. Whoops, wrong layer selected. 2. Ooh, better 2. And that is Krita, or Krita, which is this French program, free French program that you can do flats with automatically. Krita, okay. So and you have this fantastic person called David Rodois, who is doing his fantastic paintings with this. He's really good. So you can have a look at that video for no other reason than his fantastic artwork. But then he describes this idea that Krita can auto flatten your line art. So by having your artwork in Krita, you can produce auto flats, which is very attractive, of course. And the good thing also is that the Windows version is free, so, and it works well also, so at least for the flatting. So I think that's a very attractive solution. And but the problem, of course, is then that the Mac version isn't free. You have to check that out for yourself, what the current price is, and you should also check out whether the Mac version is any good, because I've heard some rumors about that there may be problems with that. So, but if you're running Windows, then it should be, or Windows 10, I should say, not just Windows, but Windows 10. Then it should be a good deal. Now the problem with David Rodois' video is that he doesn't really go into much detail about the process of how he does it. There is some explanation of the auto flatting in Krita, but there's no real like workflow or any discussion about what kind of preparations you need to do before you apply the Krita filters and like that. So this is why I have now decided to record a series of videos myself on auto flatting with Krita. And whoops, really crazy here. Okay, maybe I can so let's just undo everything. All right, so we should a little better. Okay, something like that. Number one, then we do also Krita here, but with more like a workflow video, where we so I'm going to record many videos, but one will be the more like an overview video where you have where we're starting in Photoshop with the original line art, and then we are doing stuff with our line work to prepare it for Krita, and then we are actually opening Krita and importing in a particular way, and then we are applying the filter, and we're talking about what different settings we should have so that it always works, so we can just hit the OK button in the filter, and then we don't have to sort of manually tweak things in Krita, because everything should just be quick. So that's why I want to work in Photoshop. I want to I don't want to mess around with Krita filters and sort of mess around with those tweaking and this that should be done before. I should have prepared my workflow. I should know what kind of filter I should have. I should know my settings of that filter, and I should know what kind of document type I should save it as, and I should know about the layers in Krita, what to remove and what not to remove, and on like that. So, and then what do I do with it when I come back to Photoshop? How do I open it in Photoshop the quickest way, and how do I sort of add it on to my whole line art, and to my, how do I continue coloring it? How do I copy the layers in Photoshop so it works maximally efficient, or something. Yeah. So you understand what I mean. So that's my process. I will do a couple of videos on that, and that is my recommendation, that you will look at those, and those will be done probably within a week or two. I should have at least one up within a week, and so I'm hoping that you could benefit a lot from that. And I repeat again, the good thing about Krita is that it's completely free if you are on the Windows platform, and you can really produce very quick flats with it. I mean, when I'm doing it, it will take me a minute to produce the color flats in Krita. If my preparations are done nicely, then it will only take 1 minute until I'm back again in Photoshop. So it's very quick. It is very relaxing to do it, because I always just do exactly the same thing and no tweaking whatsoever. And so I can recommend that. And the good thing also is that you after having downloaded the Krita application, then you own it, right? So then you make a copy of it, or like the exe installation, and then you really have that version always until you want to update it, of course. But if you're only using Krita for flattening, then it's very good to at least have that version always available. So even if it crashes, or even if someday, it never has in my experience, but I mean, even if you experience some problem, you can always reinstall it and like that, and you sort of own the program, and you can recreate the exact same effect like that. So that's my 5 cents worth of information. And before I end this rambling, just want to another quick reminder here: 987 degrees centigrade, Unlimited Danger Season 1, Episode 1, or Book 1. And then of course we have on the even more volumes coming up. As you can see on the back cover here, you have 7 volumes more: Collision Course Earth, the Open Source Force, the Alien Signal, Forbidden Territory, The Power of Colloidiana, Countdown, Genesis, and The Final Battle. Okay, that's all for me, and I'm hoping you have had a good time, and until next time, bye bye.